Today I'm taking a look at the Thrustmaster T-LCM pedals. It's interesting, we actually got a diagram and it has holes cut out so we know exactly how this thing is going to mount. So if we want to make a base for this, we can actually do that. I already know what the hole patterns are. It's a neat idea. We got our instructions. And we got our pedals. So it comes with two cables. We got our USB-A cable that will plug into the PC, PlayStation, or Xbox. This will also give you the full 16-bit resolution on those pedals. As an alternative, you can connect this directly to the wheel, but this will only give you 12-bit. It's good for convenience. 12-bit is realistically perfectly fine, so you don't really need the 16-bit, but if you want the best experience, then you want to plug it directly into the PC. We've got some washers, Allen, and we've got different sets of springs. So these are fairly soft springs. I can actually crush that with my finger. It also comes with a set pre-installed. So this comes with 3 springs on it. We can see our preload spring in the center. We also have a 15 and a 20. The preload makes it easy for us to press down and then pull it out. It's also good if you just want to tap on that brake. If you don't want to use a preload, you can replace that with just washers, so it'll just be stiff. So all of the pressure will be going directly onto the springs. We also have a 5 and 2 30s. So if you want to have the stiffest experience, then you use these reds. So right now it is considerably stiffer than the gas or the clutch. We also have these little plastic blocks. Those are to change the angle of the pedal. So we could take this plastic block off and put it directly onto the metal mount, or we put these thicker blocks on there and make it a little bit more vertical. We can also see on here we got a bunch of different holes. With that, we can move it side to side. We can also move it up and down. So if you're like me and you want to be comfortable, you want to have it spread a little bit further apart, you can do that. Or if you want to, you can move it closer together. If you want a very close contact between the brake and the gas, so if you want to increase your speed, you can do that. So very customizable. So I'm upgrading from the T3P. So I got this with the T300 Alcantara racing wheel set. These have been great. The only problem with them is they got a potentiometer that is doing all the sensing. So every time you press down, that is taking that potentiometer and swiveling it. The problem with that is that the friction on there, and plus just getting them dirty, has a tendency to make them fail, which is exactly what happened with this one. My gas pedal no longer works. It either doesn't work at all or registers as a full 100% whenever I'm not even touching it. The T-LCM has a magnetic sensor. So there's no longer any contact in there. You can press that thing up and down all day long and it is not going to do anything to it. So this should last a lot longer than the T3P. So this is one of those things where you buy once, cry once. I also really like that this is a much smoother finish than these. These have these little textures in them. If you're playing with shoes on, then that's going to be perfectly fine, but I usually play with bare feet or with socks, and these have a tendency to want to wear on my feet. So I'm very happy to upgrade to this flatter face. But the one feature that this one is known for is it has that load cell on there, so when you press down on it, it's going to act more like a hydraulic brake. Whereas with the T3P, they just have this piece of rubber right here, so you press down to that. It's kind of like a soft rubber foam material. You can really crush that down. I actually think that it feels great. The only reason I want to do this upgrade is just because of those potentiometers, so we will see how much of a difference that actually makes. So I haven't played with both the T3P and the T-LCM. I can definitely say the T-LCM is a better pedal set. Just the brake by itself, it does really add to the overall feel. It doesn't really change the game that much, because if you got a brake, then you got a brake. But it does feel different, so it feels a lot nicer. Now, at first I found that the springs that it came with, the default, even though they're fairly light, they were still a little bit stiff, and I ended up pushing my chair back every time I slammed on the brakes. So I changed the heavier spring out for the lighter spring, and this is much more comfortable to use. It's still, it is a little bit light in comparison to what I would like, but it does feel a lot more like a typical hydraulic brake. The only issue I've had with this pedal set so far was that plugging it in through USB, this game SnowRunner did not recognize it. Now that's not a problem with the pedal set, that is a problem with this game, because this game also does not recognize my shifter, my THA, and my handbrake. So that's just SnowRunner, that has not anything to do with the pedal set. I was able to correct that by using that little phone cable that came with it, so I plugged that directly into my steering wheel, and that solved that problem. And I cannot tell the difference between the USB and the phone cable just because I played this with American Truck Simulator, and that works perfectly fine, but I also played that using the TH8A and the handbrake. So, yeah, I think that this pedal set is fantastic. It feels great. It's a lot easier on my skin if I want to play this thing with bare feet. And it just works. If I had to choose between the T3PA and the T-LCM again, I would definitely go with the T-LCM. It is just the ultimate pedal set.